The film begins in 2009 in Mongolia. At that time, there were two soldiers from North Korea who sneaked into a building for a special mission. But the guards found them, and a fight started. One of the soldiers was named Gui-sun. It looked like she was searching for something important. Suddenly, Gui-sun's father contacted her and told her to stop her mission. He also warned her that her partner, Chul-seung, was planning to harm her. To protect herself, Gui-sun shot Chul-seung before he could hurt her and left him. Meanwhile, Gui-sun's father was facing an enemy who wanted to kill him. 11 years later, in Incheon, South Korea, there's a happy woman named Mi-young. She runs a bakery and is known for being kind and careful with money. After finishing work at her shop, she goes to meet her husband, Soo-kwon, who works with computers. At that time, Soo-kwon likes to collect bottle caps in hopes of winning a prize, like a washing machine. One day, a customer comes to fix his laptop, which has a virus. Soo-kwon kindly offers the customer and his wife a drink. When the wife opens her bottle, she finds a surprise ticket to Hawaii. At first, Mi-young is hesitant about going on the vacation because she worries about the cost. But their daughter, Nari, feels sad because she's never been on a holiday like her friends. So Mi-young decides they'll go as a family. They get their passports ready and start preparing for their trip to Hawaii. In another place, a woman is seen getting ready. Suddenly, she gets a mysterious phone call, and it seems like she's been given a mission. Meanwhile, in a crowded street, a man gets a call from his boss. At that time, he's told to track down someone who's heading to Hawaii. Surprisingly, the man turns out to be Chul-seung, a member of a special unit from North Korea. He's still alive, even though he was shot by Gui-sun 11 years ago. 2 days later, Chul-seung instructs his men to identify the person in a photo who looks like Gui-sun. With a captain leading them, they get ready to take action. Meanwhile, Mi-young and her family are hurrying to the airport. At that moment, they almost miss their flight, but manage to make it to the gate on time. As the last passengers, they're offered 2 free business class seats because there are empty seats available. Mi-young and Nari choose to sit in business class, while Soo-kwon sits in economy class. In the airplane cockpit, a flight attendant named Hyun-min gave some information to the pilot. He's a big fan of spy movies, so he likes to pretend he's a spy. Once the plane took off, another flight attendant offered Mi-young and Nari some food. They were surprised to find out that all the meals in business class were included. Mi-young and Nari ordered some fancy food to enjoy during the flight. Meanwhile, Soo-kwon struck up a conversation with an old man named Park in economy class. They had a good time chatting, and Mr. Park mentioned he was going to Hawaii to see his grandson. On the other hand, Mi-young started feeling sick because of all the rich food. She urgently needed to use the bathroom, but the ones in business class were all occupied, so she had to find one in economy class. In a rush, she asked Soo-kwon to watch Nari while she went to the restroom. Meanwhile, Chul-seung instructed his men to find their target, who was also on the plane. A woman wearing a hat and mask sensed something was wrong and quickly hid in the restroom. It seemed like she had a plan. After searching around, the men reported back to Chul-seung that they couldn't find the person they were looking for. So Chul-seung had to come up with another plan. At the same time, Hyun-min noticed one of Chul-seung's men looking upset after receiving a new mission. In that moment, Hyun-min panicked when he overheard that the mission was about hijacking the plane. Soon after, he tried to inform another flight attendant about the situation, but he got scolded for not focusing on his job, especially since the plane hit turbulence. Soon after, Chul-seung and his men started their actions. They subdued the flight attendants, and Chul-seung knocked out Hyun-min. His men then rounded up the passengers and forced them to gather in one area. Even passengers from business class, including Soo-kwon and his daughter, were brought there. Chul-seung then took a flight attendant hostage and demanded the pilot open the cockpit. After getting into the cockpit, Chul-seung quickly took down the co-pilot, who resisted. He ordered the pilots to change the plane's direction. While chaos unfolded, Chul-seung's men searched the plane to make sure no passengers were hiding. However, one of them got trapped in a small space when the plane changed course suddenly, blocking his way out with an object. Meanwhile, Mi-young, unaware of the situation, was busy in the restroom. Back on the ground, the National Intelligence Service realized there was a hijacking. They suspected Gui-sun, a former North Korean agent now in South Korea, as a temporary suspect. She's known as one of the most wanted people in the country. Meanwhile, on the plane, Chul-seung divided the passengers by gender. As the women gathered, Chul-seung noticed a woman in a hat among them and grew suspicious. He approached her, and when she tried to escape, she was caught at gunpoint. Then, while Mi Young was in the bathroom, one of Chul Seung's guys found her. He barged in and tried to attack her, but surprisingly, she fought back and even managed to stun him. Meanwhile, the National Intelligence Agency revealed that Mi Young is actually Gui Sun, who had plastic surgery to change her appearance. So Mi Young is the person Chul Seung is searching for. Also, the woman with a hat and mask who got caught earlier turned out to be a famous artist named An Sarah. She's hiding her identity from the public. When the hijackers realized they had caught a famous person, they couldn't resist taking a selfie with her. Chul Seung, realizing that Gui Sun was still hiding, spoke over the plane's speakers and asked her to surrender. Hearing his voice, Gui Sun remembered when her father told her to leave North Korea. She moved to South Korea, where she became Mi Young, starting a new life with Soo Kwon. Together, they had a daughter who brought them great joy. Meanwhile, Soo Kwon and their daughter went to sit with the other passengers. At that time, Soo Kwon was worried about Mi Young, so he asked Mr. Park to take care of their daughter while he searched for his wife. He quietly searched the back of the plane but didn't find Mi Young. Instead, he found a laptop under a seat. And Soo Kwon, who knows a lot about computers, took the laptop to a quiet spot and started trying to access the plane's systems. Meanwhile, Mi Young was watching from above the cabin. She saw one of the hijackers threatening Hyung Min, asking for passenger information. Hyung Min, who is really into spy stuff, kept watching her, which made the hijacker notice him. But then, Mi Young acted fast, jumping down and stopping the hijacker. Afterward, Hyung Min confessed he had hidden passenger data in his socks. Mi Young quickly took it and burned it, hoping to keep her and her family safe from the bad guys. They decided to team up. Mi Young dressed up as a flight attendant, while Hyung Min went to the cargo hold to find a weapon. Together, they planned to face whatever dangers came their way. Soon after, Mi Young decided to act by pretending to be a food server. When she faced a hijacker with a gun, she stayed calm. Using her impressive martial arts skills, she easily defeated the hijacker. After dealing with the first threat, she headed towards the room where the passengers were held captive. There, she unexpectedly found Nari. Worried that Nari shouldn't witness any dangerous fighting, Mi Young didn't want to set a bad example as a mother who fights. She also wore a mask to hide her identity. Meanwhile, Soo Kwon managed to hack into the plane's system and tried to find out who Chul Seung, the mastermind behind the hijacking, was. Once he got this information, he quickly reported it to the intelligence agency. At the same time, Hyun Min arrived in the cargo hold and saw Soo Kwon acting suspiciously. Mistakenly thinking Soo Kwon was one of the hijackers, he immediately attacked him. But Soo Kwon easily defended himself, leaving Hyun Min frightened. After digging deeper, they found out that Soo Kwon used to work for South Korea's National Intelligence Agency. With this new knowledge, Hyun Min kept hacking into the plane's control system. Now, without knowing each other's identities, Mi Young and Soo Kwon tried to fix the problem in their own ways. Using his skills, Soo Kwon managed to hack into the pilot's controls and redirect the plane back to its original course. In the cockpit, Chul Seung initially thought it was the pilot's doing, but he eventually realized the truth after watching the CCTV footage. Meanwhile, Hyun Min reached the room where emergency weapons were kept. He grabbed some weapons, but there was a hijacker sleeping inside. He quickly tied him up and left the room, hurrying to find Soo Kwon. Mi Young, on the other hand, was facing off with the captain. At first, the captain seemed tough, but Mi Young, known as the country's most feared secret agent, quickly gained the upper hand. When she sensed the captain getting suspicious about her identity, she delivered a powerful kick, knocking him out cold. However, her victory was short-lived as Chul Seung arrived with Soo Kwon, who had been captured. They were both tied up and taken to a room. On the other hand, when Nari watched her parents get arrested, she tried to stay calm to avoid suspicion. Meanwhile, Hyun Min, hiding in the ventilation shaft, panicked when he saw Soo Kwon and Mi Young also captured. In the passenger cabin, Mr. Park noticed Nari looking worried and tried to comfort her with a teddy bear. However, this made Chul Seung suspicious because he still hadn't found Gui Sun. He started to think Nari's mother might be the person he was after. Soon after, Chul Seung asked Nari about her mother, and feeling pressured, she pointed to An Sarah behind her, claiming she was her mother. This surprised all the passengers since An Sarah was known as a single artist. Overwhelmed, An Sarah went along with the story, pretending to be Nari's mother, which caused one passenger to faint. Now let's go back to Soo Kwon and Mi Young. Here, Soo-kwon finally confessed that he was actually an intelligence agent sent to keep an eye on Mi-young when she first arrived in South Korea. This revelation made Mi-young cry and feel betrayed because she had trusted Soo-kwon so much. Despite this, he tried to reassure her, saying that his feelings for her were genuine and not just part of his mission. In the past, Soo-kwon had disguised himself as a homeless person to spy on Mi-young because she had a reputation for being tough and cruel. But as he got to know her better, he realized she was kind and different from what he had thought. This changed everything for Soo-kwon. He realized he had fallen in love with Mi-young, the person he had been searching for. Now that he knows Mi-young is a secret agent, she was thinking if he could accept her. Upon hearing that, Soo-kwon's answer was simple. He said that Mi-young's past didn't matter to him. What mattered was that she was his wife and the mother of their child. Hearing this, Mi-young cried and Soo-kwon cried too. Meanwhile, after the captain regained consciousness, he started scheming with his men. He went to talk to Chul-sung, who was in the cockpit, and surprisingly, he attacked him. The captain confessed that he felt betrayed because he had different plans from Chul-sung. The captain's plan was to sell Mi-young for a large sum of money. She was wanted by many people in North Korea, and whoever captured her would be rewarded handsomely if they could sell her there. He also planned to bring down the plane along with Chul-sung. Then he and his men would escape using parachutes, taking Mi-young with them. At that time, Chul-sung couldn't accept this because the plane carried innocent passengers. He tried to fight the captain, but realized all his crew members had betrayed him. With no other option, Chul-sung was finally captured along with Soo-kwon and Mi-young. In a tense moment, the captain ordered the pilot to lower the plane to 8,000 feet. Initially, the pilot refused because it was very risky, but under threat, he had to obey. As the plane descended, Soo-kwon, Mi-young, and Chul-sung struggled in the turbulence. Amidst the chaos, the truth emerged. Chul-sung kidnapped Mi-young because of her father's past. Mi-young's father was a key figure who had sealed away a dangerous nuclear weapon. Many criminals wanted to find Mi-young's father to unlock the weapon, leading to his arrest and death. However, the key to the seal was Mi-young's iris, making her the only one who could unlock it. That's why her father wanted her to live safely in South Korea. At that moment, Chul-sung explained why he wanted to kidnap Mi-young. It wasn't for bad reasons, but to protect her. He wanted to shield Mi-young from people who were chasing her and trying to harm her, including Chul-sung himself. In Chul-sung's past, he wouldn't have betrayed her either. However, because Mi-young was understandably scared, she was cautious not to trust anyone. After discussing it, they decided to team up and stop the captain's plan to crash the plane. Meanwhile, Hyun-min, who had come through the ventilation duct, was surprised to find Chul-sung as part of their team. So the four of them joined forces and decided to confront the captain. At that time, Soo-kwon hacked into the plane's system and turned off the lights, allowing Mi-young and Chul-sung to move in the darkness and incapacitate their opponents. At the same time, the passengers also didn't stay quiet. They helped by distracting the enemies, making it easier for Mi-young to fight. Soon after, the hijackers, including the captain, who couldn't match Mi-young's strength, were defeated. As tension gripped the plane, Chul-sung began gathering his belongings, intending to jump from the plane. However, he was unexpectedly shot by Mr. Park. It turned out that Mr. Park was one of the hijackers all along, keeping an eye on Chul-sung as part of their plan. At that time, Mr. Park felt betrayed by Chul-sung's actions. It was then revealed that Mr. Park was the one who had killed Mi-young's father. He threatened Mi-young to come with him to ensure her daughter's safety. Soon after, Soo-kwon attempted to resist by firing an electric gun, but it was only a toy. Soo-kwon was shot right in front of Nari's eyes. Holding the crying Nari, Mi-young whispered something to her and then prepared to jump from the plane wearing a parachute. Just before the plane was about to crash, Mi-young whispered a code to Nari, instructing her to throw the doll. As Nari tossed the doll, Mi-young pushed Mr. Park, catching him off guard, and threw the doll too. To everyone's surprise, the doll turned out to be a bomb that Mr. Park had prepared to blow up the plane. After the ordeal, Mi-young returned with Soo-kwon, who miraculously survived thanks to a bulletproof vest. There, Chul-sung also made it through and decided to leave, allowing Mi-young to start her new life. Meanwhile, the other passengers took action, immobilizing the remaining hijackers and tying them up. The National Intelligence Service confirmed that the hijacking crisis was over, and the plane safely continued its journey to Hawaii. In the end, on a beautiful Hawaiian beach, Suk Hwan is seen giving a ring to Mi Young, and the movie concludes. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is always double-check your dolls before throwing them, because you never know when they might explode. And remember, if you're ever hijacking a plane, make sure your bulletproof vest is on tight.